What's going on, everyone? Chris here with Clutter Reduction Junk Removal in Palm Beach County, Florida. And as you can see, we are in the dump line. You can see SWA behind me, dumping out some of the stuff from yesterday. I did a ghost route in one of the northern cities of my county. I don't venture up there for marketing very often because it's about a 45-minute drive with good traffic. And I'm in South Florida, and good traffic can turn to really bad traffic like that. So I went up there, did a ghost route, put some signs out, scoped out a few real estate offices. I may bring some cards by later on. And on my way back, I got a call from a repeat client to come pick up a tall, like a Kia style cabinet that was in her bathroom that she's just tired of looking at. So minimum pickup there. Took me about 4 minutes to do the job, like from start to finish. So that was a quick $99. And then towards the end of the day, when it's starting to get dark out because it's daylight savings now, I got a call from someone who found me through Google that wanted to get a quote and possibly get the job done, assuming the quote was fair. And we ended up doing that, booked the job on the spot, was in and out of that within an hour. That was 3/4 of a load, so $419. So it ended up being a $518 day. Now I will say something had changed. I thought about doing this a while back. Turning your service to 24/7 versus having like set hours. And I will say I've gotten a few calls regarding that 24/7. And some people are like, are you actually open 24/7? Like, how does that work? And, you know, I've told customers like face to face, you know, kind of like lightheartedly, like, you know, I may not answer the phone at 2 a.m., but if we need to set up a schedule where I need to come out and do a job overnight for some scheduling reason on your side, I'll do it. I might charge a little extra, but, you know, I'll get that done. And I have gone to do jobs at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night because it's typically people who are moving last minute and they're just really bad at time management and they're very poorly organized and they're loading up a U-Haul at 10 o'clock at night and they say, you know what, screw it, we're just going to leave all the big stuff behind and just take this stuff. And I've gone there to do the leftover cleanup, which I'm very familiar with as a mover. People do that all the time. So it's kind of situations like that, or let's say you have an eviction, anything last minute, that's where the 24/7 would come in. And if you look at the Google Maps for my area, there's only 2 other companies that have 24/7 service out of like 75 companies. Like none of the franchises do it except for one, but they're a smaller business franchise. So that's a lot of noise. I will say that's kind of been proven to work. And it's not like I'm getting calls constantly throughout like the AM or anything either. So I think that's been pretty beneficial so far. But what I kind of want to talk about today is 2 things. One, some changes I may be making to my marketing next year based on a YouTuber I've been watching recently about digital marketing, and I'll throw his information in the description. I think he's very well spoken, very informative, and he's very easy to understand. So I'll talk about some of those key points. A service I wanted to do since I opened the business, and this is kind of like one of my original game plans, got put on the back burner a little bit, but it's coming back now, and I was going to start it in the summer of next year. I may push that to spring, and that is trailer rentals. And I already have all the paperwork done and all the pricing and how I want to do the layout. That's all researched and completed. I just have to get the paperwork, carbon copies completed, and then I have to get an attorney waiver done for liability purposes, which is like $750. But Florida is a very like pro-sue kind of state, so it would just be protection for myself. But I want to just kind of run over that goal a little bit, but doing like the details of it will be another video for another day. But after the dump, we're going to be heading to a job. He called me, found me through Google again, and said that he has a basketball hoop, some garbage bags, didn't say how many, and then he has a huge beanbag, which I'm hoping is up on the first floor because although it's just a beanbag, those things can get to 250 pounds, and they're big and they're hard to grab, and it's actually really difficult to move by yourself. Even with another person helping you, it's still difficult. So we'll see what happens there, but if I can't take videos because he seemed like he's in a rush because he's coming from his office and going right back, I'll at least try to get some pictures and give you guys a price. at the end of the job. But I'll go over some of the changes I want to make to my marketing for next year after that job, and we'll talk about the trailer a little bit, and I will see you guys then. All right, it's been a very busy last 30 minutes with a lot of phone calls from inquiries all of a sudden at 3:30 on Monday afternoon. But that job went well, ended up being about a quarter of a truck. I'll throw some pictures up in the pricing at the end of this video just to kind of show you. And I wanted to go ahead and talk about the digital marketing thing that I kind of got from that YouTuber that I'm going to show it in the description. And the tactic is called 80-20 marketing. So the idea behind it is to focus on just one or two of best strategies versus trying to juggle, so many different avenues when it comes to your marketing. So the 80-20 marketing is essentially finding out or identifying who your top 20 customers are that are responsible for 80% of your income. So for example, let's say, and I know this for a fact, for me, for this year so far, the top 20% of my clientele is word of mouth and Google. And when I say word of mouth, I mean realtors, professional organizers, property managers, just people who use me that refer me to their friends or family or repetitive business. And then Google. So people who found me through a Google search, I went to my website and inquired through there, or people that called me from my website or found me through other social medias. Those are the top 20%. They're about me about 80% of my income. Everything else is kind of like random sources, or someone that found me through a sign, or someone that saw me driving during my ghost routes, or just like minimum pickups. But the majority of them are those two sources. So with the 80-20 marketing, the goal is to put 80% effort into the top 20% of your results, so that way you can trim out all that excessive fat and you focus on what really counts. So my goal for next year would be to do more networking, and not just networking, but to build strong relationships with those people I network with, in hopes that the stronger my relationship and my bond with them, the more likely they are to not only refer me out, but to use me repetitively versus just a one-time use. And then as far as the Google goes, obviously SEO with the website, or being on as many platforms as possible, and just having a strong online presence in general would be something to strive for and to keep consistent with. So those are the two things that I'm going to be pushing for. And on top of that, it's also okay to add on like one or two things that you want to get into. So I don't do a lot of commercial work, but of the times I have done commercial work, they've been multiple loads. Like they've been $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 jobs. So that's something I do want to push for next year, whether it's, a large office or a small business, or, even like storage units that need to have a unit cleaned out, that don't want to go the auction route. Those are things that I want to get into, because I already know right off the back that I'm already looking at least a full load or more. There's no picking up one file cabinet and a chair. If I'm going there, I'm filling up my trailer. So I really want to try to get into those a little bit more often. And then the networking and the Google. So those are going to be the three things that I put 80% of my effort into next year. Now, the remaining 20% is going to get everything else. So signs, ghost routes, the target marketing. I'll still be handing out cards and flyers to assisted livings and apartment buildings and real estate offices and stuff like that. But it's going to be a little bit more thinned out and a little bit more spread out throughout the year, where my focus is to be those first three topics. Now, the reason I'm kind of taking this approach, because I do think that as a small business, being a volume shooter is a good thing. So if I can, expose myself to 10,000 people that only maybe 2,000 of them call me, it's better doing that, because I have no reputation to my name to the majority of these people, versus only marketing to maybe 2,000 more promising people, but they still have that same lack of knowledge about who I am. So the more I can expend myself to, the more chances I have of catching someone. So I do still believe that is a strong situation for a small business, but I also am worried about the fact that, let's say my goal works out and I am able to double what I did this year. I still plan on doing this by myself for the most part. I'll hire out someone for these bigger jobs I have to take some labor off myself in the long term, but I do still plan on doing this all by myself. So if I get really busy, I'm not going to be able to handle that whole marketing routine that I kind of made earlier about the $100,000 video. So I want to make sure that I'm able to really go for the meat and potatoes of it all, and then leave the bread and butter and the sides to kind of just everyday, daily operations. Hopefully that made sense. But that's just kind of my game plan with that. The service I wanted to mention that I plan on getting into, I've talked about before on a few videos probably, which is trailer rentals. It's something that I've been wanting to do since I started the junk removal business. And the reason being is, at the end of the day, I see it as like passive income, where all I'm having to do is load up a trailer that's already paid for, bring it to a house, drop it off. They do all the work. I go to the dump, I push a button, it dumps it all out, I go back home. And I got paid for that. Is it as much as junk removal? Probably not, unless they get you with a bunch of surcharges. But you're not having to do the work, you're not having to fill in the schedule. I could go do a job and then come back and pick up that trailer. And at that point, I'm making money from two different sources by only performing the work on one of them. So I already have the idea of the size dump trailer I plan on getting. I'm planning on getting it in the spring of next year, unless something drastic happens. My original plan was the summer, so I'm going to move it up a quarter. And then I'm dying. Sorry. Choking on something. Air. I don't know. I already have all my paperwork and my pricing and my surcharges written out based on other companies around me. There's actually not a big market for this around my area, surprisingly. There's a lot of dumpster rentals and industrial sizes. That's the thing, is that these are all for construction sites and like full-blown office building cleanouts. Those are the 30-yard dumpsters that cost, $2,000 to have for a month. And that's a great deal if you want to have a 30-yard dumpster in your driveway, but a lot of people can't or don't want to, and that's where the trailer would come in. It's very mobile, it's more clean looking, and for the most residential clientele, it's going to be a better fit for them. So I definitely think it's something that's going to be promising. It's just kind of getting everything situated and getting the trailer done, and just making sure I have all the legal contracts kind of ready to go, like the liability waiver, so I don't get sued, because Florida is a very pro-sue state, if you've never been here. But that's kind of the goal with that. And I'll go over more detail on that the closer that time comes, just going over pricing and surcharges, and then of course I'll do updates on how it actually works out. But until then, that's it for today's video. After this will be pictures of that job and the pricing. So if you like videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys later on in the week at my next job. I hope everyone's businesses are going well for the holidays, especially the winter. And I hope you guys are making money. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Bye.